Hey, it's Gil Alexander live from the beautiful Mirage Sportsbook. It is time once again to go behind the book. It's the Behind the Book online sports show. Gil Alexander, host of the Beating the Book podcast, along with Jay Rude, the vice president of MGM Resorts Race and Sportsbook. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
You ready to dispense some information that will help bettors make some money this weekend?
Yeah, well, hopefully not too much, but yeah, let's give him a little nugget here or there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's sincere or not. We'll find out. We're going to answer some questions, though, from viewers on the Mirage Facebook page.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of questions, and we've got guys getting involved. It's good. They're giving out picks.
Yeah, and I feel like people are watching us here at the Mirage Sportsbook itself, so this is going to be a good one. Ready to go?
We got some baseball in the background. People are walking by, want to know what's going on.
I like it. Let's start with college football. Really one marquee college football game this week.
Right.
And that's Alabama and Texas A&M. Looking up at the big board right now. Alabama, an 18.5-point favorite over 6th-ranked Texas A&M. Alabama, of course, the number 1 team in the nation. And folks are saying that this might be the best Alabama team that Nick Saban has ever had. Ergo, Jay,
right.
The 18.5-point spread.
Absolutely. I mean, if you looked at it and you just looked at it from a ranking standpoint, you would go, wow, what is going on here? But realistically, Alabama's power rating is considerably stronger than any of their competition around them. I mean, they would be, Clemson's number 2. They would be probably, like right now, 8.5 at home to 10 over Clemson at home.
Wow.
On a neutral site, they'd still probably be about a 7-point favorite. Wow. So they're stacked.
That's startling. Now, in the last 30 years, there have only been 4 other games in which 2 top 6 teams in the country have played each other where the spread has been greater than 14. So this is only the 5th time in the last 30 years that this kind of occurrence has happened. In those previous 4, if you believe in those kind of small sample trends, the favorite has never covered in just those 4 games.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet the ATS against the spread is majorly in favor of the dog.
Yeah, a couple of stats you might want to look at in this game. As great as Trevor Knight and Trevion Williams have been for Texas A&M, Texas A&M has turned the ball over 11 times already this year. Alabama, both on defense and special teams, have generated 11. And really, in terms of completion percentage, A&M, that's their weakness on defense. They have given up to opposing quarterbacks a greater than 60% completion percentage. And, Jalen Hurts, 64% completion percentage. They got to clean that up. The Aggies do if they're going to not only cover this, but try to win this football game, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, a lot of the people have seen both these teams. This is going to be a game where I might be able to split the action at 18.
Yeah.
I think if this was under 2 touchdowns, if the line was like 4 points difference, we probably would get nothing but Alabama money. Again, I think this is another opportunity. If you're an Alabama backer, I think A&M starters will come in and play well enough that you might be able to get an Alabama light line in-game wagering if A&M can come in and put up an early score.
In-game wagering, for those uninitiated, making bets during the game, usually commercial breaks, really?
No, we keep it up and running all the time. Yeah, I mean, until they get down to the red zone, you can make a wager. We start to suspend the game when they get into the red zone or a big pick or something like that. But we're constantly updating the line.
Jay is not messing around at the Mirage and all the MGM Resorts international properties here in Vegas. And do come down and watch us live here at the Mirage. We do this each and every week. And this is the time where we go to pro football on the show. And let's do 3 pro football games.
Yep.
I'd say, I don't know if this is the marquee game, Jay, but late game, Patriots at Steelers. No Big Ben for the Steelers.
Right.
It's Landry Jones. Steelers coming off a terrible loss to the Dolphins. The Patriots are just the Patriots with Tom Brady. They just steamroll everybody. I have a show on my podcast, an episode called the Guessing Lines show, where I guess the line of the game without having seen it when it's first posted. I guessed that the Steelers would be 6-point dogs in this game, even with Landry Jones. But it was 7.5,
right.
And now it's 7.5 with reduced juice. So forgive me, it is 7 and a hook with reduced juice. I'll take that extra 1.5 any day. You're going through that key number of 7, even with Landry Jones. I can see the Steelers showing up for this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers have proven that when they get embarrassed, they come back and mean business the next week. And Landry Jones isn't an unproven product. They've worked with him before, so he knows the system well. He's going to be able to step in. I don't think he's going to fill Big Ben's shoes,
No.
100%, but I think he'll be more than adequate. Remember, they still have a really dangerous Le'Veon Bell in the back. So, I mean, that's going to be huge for them. I got to think that this is going to be a tough game for the Patriots. But that being said,
yeah.
ABB.
ABB.
Everybody bets Belichick.
Always
and I think,
bet Belichick.
Yeah,
right.
always bet Belichick.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the public's going to do this week again. Last week we had massive liability on the Patriots. We didn't get there on that game, but we had massive liability on the Steelers. So we got that game. So knocking one of those down made our Sunday, basically.
But you're so right, though. That, like, a game like this, recency is the most influential thing in NFL betting. And the last we saw the Steelers, again, they were getting crushed by the Dolphins just a few weeks after they got crushed by the Eagles. So 2 results for the Steelers where viewers are like, I'm not betting on this team against the Patriots. But that's kind of life betting in the NFL, isn't it?
Right. I mean, you're a hero one week and you're a zero the next week. That's what it really comes down to.
Absolutely. Sunday night, Jay, Seahawks at Cardinals.
Yes.
A year ago, probably would have said this is a super marquee matchup.
NFC preview.
Pretty good matchup still after 6 weeks, though the Cardinals have just gotten back to 500.
Right.
So I think it's still going to be a heavily viewed game, of course, on Sunday night. Certainly more marquee matchup than the Monday night game, which we're about to talk about, at least from a viewer standpoint. But the Seahawks, 2-point dogs heading into Arizona.
Right.
Arizona, as we mentioned, 3-3, having come off the big, easy win against the Jets on Monday night. Seattle wins a very controversial game against the Falcons, a pass interference that wasn't called. They end up beating the Falcons. So the perception of these teams, the Cardinals, I think folks think they're coming back. The Seahawks are just kind of the Seahawks. People know how good they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question mark with the Cardinals was Palmer. And is he Palmer that we saw last year, or is he a different Palmer? And I think this last week, he sort of answered the question that he might roll back into form of what he was last week. And if he does, then they absolutely should be a 2-point favorite. That is actually telling you that if this was at a neutral site, say this was played at the Rose Bowl, Seahawks would be about a 1.5 point favorite, because the home field advantage for Cardinals probably is about 3, maybe 3.5. Home field advantage for the Seahawks is like 4. I mean, their home field advantage is really, really good. So that's telling you that we still favor the Seahawks in this matchup, but the point spread doesn't quite accurately reflect that. But so we're trying to look for some money here, I think, on the Cardinals, because I think a lot of people are going to be betting the Seahawks as a dog, which doesn't normally happen in recent years with the Seahawks. So we're going to need the Cardinals, I think, in this game. But who knows? I mean, I've been so wrong on predicting which way the public's going to go over the course of this season that,
I had not noticed that.
I'm lucky to be collecting a paycheck at this point.
Do you think now, will your bettors, will they bet Seahawks ATS? Will they bet Seahawks on the money line?
I think they're going to bet this like they do the Super Bowl. If you're going to bet the Cardinals, you're going to lay the 2. And if you're going to bet the Seahawks, you're going to take the plus $1.10 on the money line.
I think so as well. Monday night, Texans and Broncos. The media will, God help us, try to make this into a big Brock Osweiler returns to Denver kind of thing.
Right.
Please spare us. But Osweiler somehow has gotten it done, in quotes, for the Texans. They are 4-2. They've won all their home games. Last week, the Texans with a miraculous push.
Yeah, he pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
And I bet you that was bad for you.
That was really bad for us. Yeah, that was, Sunday was great, but Monday was opposite of what Sunday was. I mean, I looked like I had that in the bag early, and then even the under. We needed dog and under, and and 49 points going into the third quarter. I'm like, this is as easy as it gets for a bookmaker from time, which they don't ever come easy. Trust me.
Yeah.
And that got away from us. It was just inexplicable.
What we're referring to is that the Texans were losing that game by 14 with less than 5 minutes left, 23-9. Somehow managed to tie it and eventually won it in overtime by 3. And not only did the Texans get the push, they were favored by 3, but once it got to 23-23, your under was cooked no matter what.
Done.
Unless it's a tie game at the end, which did not happen. That said, the Texans
They can tie in the NFL?
They can in the regular season, I believe.
Yeah, yes. I know. I think some players don't realize that.
Donovan McNabb still doesn't
That's almost
understand.
like hockey.
They don't know they can. They can tie in hockey, of course.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, but some NFL players are still unaware of that.
Unaware,
of
yeah.
that
Need to
rule.
do their homework.
That said, the Texans travel to Denver, take on the Broncos. The Broncos' perception is that they're not looking good. Extra rest here for the Broncos, but they got crushed by the Chargers on Thursday night. Thursday nights tend to be squirrely games. but the Broncos favored here by a full touchdown. I think that's kind of merited.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bizarre that the Denver defense sort of was manhandled by the Charger offensive line, which doesn't happen. You know, and I think if you were looking at these two teams as you would a stock on the New York Stock Exchange,
Buy low, sell high?
yeah, I think everyone is selling on both of these teams right now. I think it's going to be a difficult matchup from a public perspective, you know, who they're going to play. I think most will line up on the Broncos with the theory of, I hope they return to form. A lot of people put, you know, they can draw a line through a game, but to draw a line through 2 games with the Broncos, it's a little difficult. But I think the public's going to line up on the Broncos. It might, you know, we're at minus 115 on that a little bit, so it's nudging towards, you know, it's going to go a little bit higher. And the Texans are a different team from home, and I think most people realize that at this point. So yeah, we're going to be needing Osweiler to return to Mile High and put in a Manning-esque performance.
You think that's going to be your biggest decision of the week as a bookmaker?
No. I think our biggest decision of the week will probably be the Patriots over the Steelers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Anytime you have an injury to a starting quarterback, the public tends to go against that.
I'm all about the Steelers. Ready to answer some questions?
Yeah.
Anyone can ask questions of Mr. Rude here on our Mirage Facebook page or anywhere on social media just by putting the hashtag behind the book. Let's read a couple of these, shall we?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Dylan's played out last week.
Oh, you peeked, did you? Let's ask the first one first. Evan Breckenridge. And Evan Breckenridge asks, this is a good one, Jay. My girlfriend can't stop betting parlays. She never wins, and now she's convinced she can tease the spread in her favor. I don't know if she got that or if he got that. Well, she, first of all,
the girls were
learned
talking
of it
about that last week.
from the Fantasy Girls of Luxor that
Right.
we spoke with last week. She now is convinced she can tease the spread in her favor. Do you have any advice for her, or do we have to break up? It's a gots to go situation. Get her. No.
I mean, you saw how well the teaser worked for the girls last week, so nothing is guaranteed.
That's right.
I think maybe you need to occupy her time a little bit better.
Love advice from Jay Root.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep her out of the book if it's becoming a problem for you.
I would say that parlays, you gotta have her stop.
Yeah, parlays aren't a practical strategy long term.
Especially if
You
you're
wanna
doing
bet
more.
straight bets.
Yeah, especially if you're doing more than 2 teams, right? If you're doing 3 or 4 team parlays, if that's what she's doing,
Right.
you're the highway.
Cut bait.
Basically, yes. Maybe Jay's right. Maybe you should spend more time with her. All right, here's the question you referred to. A Dylan Ziegler asks, well, he sort of asks and then he says something. This is before last week's games.
Right.
Dylan just says, pick of the week, and he says, Raiders at home giving up 1 point to the Chiefs. Well, Dylan, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah, well, you know, he was on the house's side, unfortunately,
He
because
was.
the game went from Raiders -1
Yeah.
to Kansas City 2.5. So you were contrarian, is what we call it in the business last week, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for you. It was some soggy conditions, and
that's right. Blame it on
didn't
the
quite
rain.
get there. So, but keep trying.
Dylan,
I like the effort.
I'm only
I
playing.
like the pick too,
yeah,
actually.
We've all been there. Believe me, anybody who tells you they haven't been there is lying. But I guess when he also asked pick of the week, this gives us sort of an entree to give our pick of the week.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to give mine first, Jay, as the better. I am going to say that Steelers pick is my pick of the week. The Steelers plus 7.5. If you give me the hook, and you are currently giving me the hook,
Yes.
I am happily taking the Steelers. That is free money to me.
Okay. Free money.
So
I love to hear those
I'm
terms.
saying that as a joke, obviously.
Lead pipe
Nothing is free
lock.
money. Yeah.
Yes.
No. I think that is a gift line. I think it's total perception. Landry Jones in for Big Ben. I think that's a smart play.
Yeah. I hope you're right, because that's a play that we're going to need. I'm going to go with something.
Now, is this you as a bettor or you as a bookmaker? saying
Well,
this?
I'm just going to put something out there. And I was a miserable student in history, right? But you said some history a little while ago related to the Alabama game.
Yes, I did.
And it is 5-0 in favor of the Dogs in these particular matchups. So I don't think I would buck the trend there, and I would bet the dog and take the points against Alabama in this particular spot.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's historical information.
So Texas A&M is
Texas
your pick.
A&M. Although I do think that we probably will need Alabama a little bit in this, because I think more people are going to look to the team with the big points hard to pass up with a team that has an O at the end of their record.
Yes.
And has been playing well.
Texas A&M 6-0, getting 18.5 points in that game against Alabama. Maybe an epic year for the Crimson Tide. We shall see. But again, even if they win, you can win money betting against them. That does it for us this week. I think we've done all we can do.
Yep.
Advice.
Good luck with everyone's wagers this week.
That's
hopefully.
right.
Better luck than last week.
Texas A&M, Steelers, whatever you want to bet, college or pro. Of course, if you're making a trip to Vegas, come on down to the Mirage, check us out, or any of the wonderful MGM resorts.
Absolutely.
properties.
I mean, here at the Mirage, we got the couches. We've got Sky Suites over at the MGM. You're coming to watch a game somewhere, any of the MGM resorts, we have a property that fits your style.
And can I tell you the property that I'm about to go watch baseball in? I'm going to the Aria, which is also a nice book.
That's a really nice book.
It's a very nice book. Come on down, check us out, the Behind the Book Sports Show. Good luck with all your bets this week. Check out my podcast, if you will, the Beating the Book podcast, available on iTunes. I'm Gil Alexander, the Vice President of Race and Sportsbook at MGM Resorts. Jay Root, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck with all your bets this weekend.